Welcome back to the Keeping It Real with KC podcast. I, of course, am your host, KC Phoenix. And yeah, I'm doing a daily thought today. I will eventually start doing the quick 3 tarot readings from time to time again. It's just what I've been doing, just so those who don't know. I've been working on the love readings, which I'm halfway through the love readings. I'm doing a little bit at a time because, again, I have plans this weekend. And I need to make sure that I get the love readings done for the weekend. So I decided to do like 1 or 2 every day throughout this week. So yeah, already started the love readings. I'm halfway through. The goal is to start uploading the September love readings probably Friday, I'm thinking. But definitely no later. I don't see any later than Saturday, knock on wood. There. So yeah, and also they're doing maintenance around the building, so you might hear weed eating, grass cutting, and all that other stuff. However, before I go any further, KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. This podcast is carried on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Overcast, Bullhorn, Amazon Music, Audible, and several other podcasting platforms. Please feel free to listen to this podcast on whatever platform is most convenient for you. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. Also, for those of you who do listen to or watch the show for the tarot card readings, all of the August readings are up. The general readings are up for August, the love readings are up for August, and the money readings are up for August. The general readings are up for September as well for all of the signs. The Lionsgate reading for the collective is up. The full moon in Aquarius reading for the collective is up. The new moon in Leo reading for the collective is up. I will be working on the new moon in Virgo in a few weeks. So yeah, I'm probably thinking not this weekend, but next weekend. Or I might do it before that. I don't know. Whatever. So yeah. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't when it comes to any reading that you watch or listen to. If it's not your story, don't try to make it fit. Other things have been going on. I'm just keeping it quiet. And you're going to see, I'm excited. Super duper 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 excited. Good things have been happening and some bad things have been happening too. But I'm focusing on the good. It's just like the bad things, they'll eventually go away, you know, like the saying goes, nothing very, very good and nothing very, very bad lasts very, very long. Back to the daily thought now. Let's hop into that because I'm already 3 minutes into this. I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make when it comes to water signs of the zodiac, and don't get me wrong, everyone has different personalities and things like that. And for those of you who are into astrology, I always say, if you're hesitant about astrology, just look at it as statistics. That's all it is. It's not saying that, oh, well, if you're a Cancer, you will more than likely be a homebody. You will hold on to stuff. You will be very creative. You'll be very family oriented in all of, whatever the characteristics of a Cancer is. It's just saying if you're born between this date and this date, you will more than likely have these characteristics, is what it is. And that's how I look at it. But with water signs, so Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, they're emotionally driven. And with signs being emotionally driven, they look at things differently. They look at things through their heart first versus through their mind. It is what they do. And because of that, some people don't understand how they operate in a way. Like they think they have it figured out, but then they don't. And I say to people, when it comes to water signs, just because our natural instinct is to move from emotion and from our heart and view things from our heart versus our mind first, doesn't mean that we cannot switch up. Because one of the biggest mistakes that people make when it comes to a water sign, out of all of the elements, water is the most naturally fluid element out of all the elements. Water, fire, air, and earth. Water is the most naturally fluid. People think of water and then it's like, oh, water, nourishes you. It brings life into you. But people don't realize that if the temperature changes, water can turn to ice, depending on what the environment is. And then ice is solid, like the earth. If the temperature changes another way, water can turn hot. I don't know if you've ever spilled boiling water on you before, or if somebody's ever thrown boiling water on you before. But, let me tell you, getting boiling water thrown on you, I know some people that happen to, or accidentally spilling boiling water on you. Yeah, it's just as hot as fire. So, and then also it makes steam as well, which makes it lighter going into the air. You have to remember that water signs, again, are naturally nurturing signs. They really are. But with water signs, if the temperature changes, if the environment changes, that water can turn to ice. That water can turn to boiling and can burn. So it just amazes me how people, they always talk about water signs like, oh, you guys are so emotional and you're all in your feelings and da 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 da. Yet, well, naturally we're supposed to be. And also with water signs usually process emotions better than other signs for the most part, because that's our territory. It is. Just like for air signs, it's their territory to process things in regards to the mind. So, yeah. And then with earth signs, it's processing the reality of a situation. That's where it's being grounded. Earth signs are very good at seeing the reality of something. And then fire signs are very good at being passionate about things, making sure that you're doing something with conviction. Because if you do something but it's not with conviction, is it really as effective? That's why fire signs are very effective signs. So every sign has their thing. And then, like I said before, there's other stuff that plays a role too, because you have your sun sign, which is the what you're born in, what month you're born in, so on and so forth, what you are. So if you're a Virgo, your sun sign is Virgo. But then you have your moon sign, then you have your rising sign, then you have your Venus, then you have your Mars, then you have your Mercury as well. All of these things can play a role. Just like for me, my Mars is in Gemini. Because my Mars is in Gemini, I'm constantly second guessing things. I'm like, okay, did I do this right? All right, let me make sure this is right. Where I think that's where some of that perfectionist comes from in me, which also being a Cancer. Cancers can be perfectionists too. But it's like, especially Gemini, with Mars is about action, how you take action on things. And with Gemini is a very analytical sign. So before a Gemini takes action, they're going to think it out. So when it comes to somebody who has a Mars that's in Gemini, that person, they're not just going to up and do it for the most part. They will think it out. Now, there will be situations where they'll be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do this. And then that might be the Cancer side coming out, which Cancer is cardinal. Cardinal signs can be like that. But for me, I do on certain things. I'm like, okay, did I cross the T's? Did I dot the I's? What about this? What about that? Making sure I can be like that sometimes. And I say that's because my Mars is in Gemini. So, yeah, there's other things that can play a role. But for the most part, we're just talking about the sun signs. For the most part, with the water signs, people, I just feel like water signs are misunderstood at times. We just really are. You know, and the other thing is that some people, they take our silence for sometimes weakness or for agreement. Sometimes we're just silent because we're just like, okay, it's not that deep. So yeah. And then also another thing is about self-reflection. Water signs do a lot of self-reflecting because, again, it's about emotions. Emotions are a very, very powerful thing. You know, emotions are powerful. And usually, like in one of the readings that I did, I forgot what card it was. It was in one of my oracle decks. I'm going to say it was in the African Goddess Oracle deck, or either my Goddesses and Titans Oracle deck. One of those. Or no, Goddesses and Sirens. Might have been that one. But it was talking about like emotion and rage, which rage is an emotion. Stuff like that. Things are usually done through emotion. Emotion is what sometimes inspires people to do things. Also, passion does that too. But yeah, emotion is a powerful, powerful thing. And when you're dealing with deep emotions, where you're processing things on an emotional level all the time, that takes a lot of mastery. Versus with other signs, they may not be able to master their emotions as much. But with water signs, emotions, that's our territory. So we may come across emotional to some people, but actually, it's our territory. We know when to let out our emotions and when to hold in our emotions for the most part. And again, there's other things astrologically in somebody's chart that can play a role in this. But I just feel like with water signs, they're kind of misunderstood. And people don't see they're just more than emotion. Water signs are very fluid, meaning that we can pretty much mimic almost every other element of the zodiac depending on the environment. It just depends what the environment brings out of us. Just throwing that out there. I feel like that's a big mistake, people, because I feel like some people feel because water signs are usually very giving signs, and not saying that water signs are the only giving signs, because actually a very nice sign, a fire sign, is Aries. I didn't realize how nice Aries were until later on, because Aries can be very blunt, and over time, and one of my former friends, he studies astrology, and he kept on telling me like Aries is one of the nicest signs in the zodiac. And I didn't see it because I'm a Cancer. I can be sensitive sometimes. And the Aries, they usually just say what's on their mind. It's like, this is what it is. They're a fire sign. So, but over time, I was like, you know what? Aries really are nice people. Now, one thing I will say about Aries, and if you were Aries, don't get mad at me. I'm just telling you what my experience is and what I've noticed. One thing I've noticed about Aries is that they sometimes take people for granted, but they don't realize that they do. It's just like Aries expects a certain treatment because it's them. But in that expectation, it's almost like taking it for granted in a way. So, yeah, that's another story for another day. We'll go into that on a different day. But I do love Aries. I actually love all the signs of the zodiac. I love pretty much. Some, yeah, it's kind of like some. I'm kind of like, all right, I see you on how they operate. But for the most part, you know, you can always find the good in anything. You can find the good in every sign. You can find the good in a job. You can find the good in a family. You can find the good in a spouse, a boyfriend, girlfriend, a regular friend. You can always find the good in something. So keep that in mind too. But yeah, I just wanted to say that. I really feel like people don't realize water signs are very fluid, and they're more than just emotion. They can go cold as ice, they can go hot as boiling water, they can go solid as the earth. So yeah, you know, but whatever works. They can go light as air. Water is a very fluid element. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that people make when it comes to those who deal with astrology, or those who see the surface level astrology of the signs, that they automatically think, oh, Cancer, automatic emotion. No, we can shut that off depending on, on the environment. We can shut it right on off. Anyways, that's all I have. Thank you, everyone, for supporting the podcast. I appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the YouTube channel. Thank you for subscribing. But I've been getting some new subscribers. I appreciate that. I will continue to work on the love readings. Hopefully, they will be wrapped by the end of the week. And then I will start uploading. KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. This podcast is carried on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Overcast, Bullhorn, Amazon Music, Audible, and several other podcasting platforms. Please feel free to listen to this podcast on whatever platform is most convenient for you. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. Until next time, be blessed.